Roger's always now we're live.
That was a great stream that we were doing to absolutely nothing. I'm like, people are saying that I'm late. I'm always whatever. I'm like, no, I waited until 6:59. As soon as it changed, I hit go live. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Especially, we did some pretty good discussion already. So
we've covered so much ground already that you guys don't even know, and now it's just rehashing. You know what? We should just cancel this whole thing.
very disappointed in myself. But there was a button that says go live. I clicked it, and then stuff changed up there because I have multiple machines going on. And then I came over here. And then I start like chatting with people, and it seemed like people are responding to stuff that I'm saying. Uh, somebody wrote 100% after I said something, but now I realize he's responding to me not being on time. Which, by the way, I am a painfully punctual person. I'm never late. I'm always like 5 or 10 minutes early to every ride, to everywhere I go, for everything I do. And I was asking Rob, can we start this early? Can we hit the button? Do you mind?
It's true.
And
It's true. We were both here 10 minutes at least ahead of time, ready to rock and roll. And we were betrayed by technology.
yeah, my clicker misclicked, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we're going back to what is a hyperwheel and blah, blah, blah. Those are the stuff that we went over already. But let me go back to the introduction. Roger EUC, we're doing a live stream today to talk about the Lynx S and how it compares to other wheels and its predecessor. We're also going to talk to Rob about his experience with it so far, my experience with it so far, and whether or not it's something that everybody's question that has a Lynx right now, should they bother upgrading? And there's also other ancillary questions like if I have a an Apex, can I just buy that new motor and throw it in there? Or is this transferable from here to there and stuff? Maybe stuff we're not supposed to talk about. I don't know. I think it'll annoy Rob if we convince somebody to upgrade something instead of buy something new. But anyway, I'm not here to make Rob happy.
We'll talk in depth about that. In fact, I'd be happy to answer it head on. Well, real quick. So this video that we're doing is intended to answer people's questions in the chat. If you have one burning question about it, this video will hopefully be watched for months and months to come. So ask away. We'll do our best to answer it live. But you know, if we answer it and it goes up on the screen, it's going to be there forever, forever and ever. But yeah, let's talk about the Lynx S and how it compares to the original Lynx and what parts are actually usable. What can be swapped? People have asked, is the motherboard swappable? Can you put the Lynx S motherboard onto the original Lynx? No, it will not fit. Same for the motor. The motor on the Lynx S is wider than the original Lynx, and according to LeaperKim, the official answer is no, it will not fit.
It looks like it would fit.
It does.
People were asking me, and I'm like, I think the shocks and the motor will both go right over. Everything measures out okay for me, but I mean, I'm sure there'd be some shims necessary if the motor's wider, but our people ain't afraid of shims, but we don't know. So now, if you're thinking of doing it, wait till somebody else is willing to burn money to try it before you use your money to do it.
Yeah, but the one thing that you can do is you can put on the Lynx S suspension on the Sherman L and the original Lynx. That's official confirmation from LeaperKim. Haven't tried it myself, but yes, it can do it.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, the suspension is very different, I've discovered. I was surprised to see that there's no preload adjustment on the top for compressing that. I don't know. I did that video on setting up the suspension, but yeah, it's a very different type of shock. So, and it definitely felt good today with one caveat that that I'll be getting into later.
Yeah. Do you want to just address it now, or do we want to fire off a lot of these or answer a lot of these questions first?
Well, I'm still going through the part where everybody's just saying that I'm never on time kind of stuff. So, and I'm like, I was on time. I clicked it. I mean, like, you guys are really nitpicking over like a half a second here. Come on.
No,
So, okay.
we were on time. We were just in the waiting room, waiting for the doctor to call us in. Apparently,
Yeah. Okay. So I went out on a ride today. So, first of all, yesterday night, I set up my suspension in the way that I thought was good. I tried setting it for about 1 inch of sag. So which equates to about 27 millimeters of sag, which now looking back is probably more than I should have done. Uh, so I'm going to add a little bit more air to set it proper. But even before I do that, I'm going to add a lot of air just to see how it behaves. But the issue that I was running into today was I was going off of drops and bottoming out, sort of. It wasn't like a regular bottom out where you go clank, but I could feel like, and then there's no more suspension travel.
yeah,
So I go to slow down the rate of compression on both sides until it's maxed out. And I was still on like maybe a 3 foot drop, I would still bottom out. So if you're a racer or something, that doesn't matter. But if you like to do stupid things, big jumps poorly, big drops, those kind of things, it is better to be able to slow down that rate of compression more. So when you do bottom out, you can do it a little more gently. But
yeah.
yeah.
So I actually, Roger, you know this, but for everyone else, I actually discussed this exact thing with Linnea at LeaperKim, their official representative, and basically, I'll agree with you that the compression range is not quite as vast as it is on the original Lynx and Sherman L suspension. Those with the Fast Ace, your adjustability range is very significant. And it is, for me, it is noticeable when you go from the minimum to the maximum for the compression settings, but it's just not quite as wide. Oh wow, someone's been using their P6 as a trail wheel. May the odds be
I
ever in
used
your
my
favor.
X Max as a trail wheel. It did just fine, and they're pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, but actually, Linnea was telling me that they will actually be working on that to try to expand the range of adjustability, possibly in future batches. I she specifically told me that that it won't bottom out hard, and that sounds like it tracks with what you were saying as
Yeah.
well. It just comes to the end of its suspension travel, and I think that part of that does have to do with the compression settings that we were discussing, but also the fact that the Lynx S has linear springs and not progressive springs. Just a thought. I mean, it's gonna be cushier. It's going to be more. What's yeah,
Oh, he's right. It was my bad. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, so it's just I lost my train of thought, but yeah, it's going to be cushier, and that is exactly what it is. I found that for street riding, it's excellent for going over potholes and bumps, but I did find that on trails, at least with the 66, you and I both have the 66-pound suspension. I was unable to make it unreasonably stiff for me. And some people, when they're riding on trails, they do like really stiff suspension. But I found that you're able to crank up the air PSI quite a bit, which helped me personally with preventing any of the bottom outs, if you will. I don't know if you can call it a true bottom out, but because I never ever bottomed out hard. You never hear that hard clank or anything like that.
The
So
clank, yeah.
yeah. Oh, EUC Logic. He's that's Will. You should it'd be wonderful if he came on. He actually got to ride the Lynx S as well along with me. He and I rode on the trails yesterday in Santa Rosa, California. It is Will likes to go on the most extreme and most punishing trails. They're not fun trails. It's a test of your abilities and your wheels abilities. And I was able to get through the roughest stuff with him. He was on his Kingong F18. We both got through it relatively pain-free. There were no issues that we had with either wheel. But one awesome thing that I found is that we were able to go up about a 60-ish degree incline with no beeps. And it was, there were some big rocks in there. Sorry, not big rocks, big roots on the way up there in that 60-ish degree angle climb. Loads of torque on the...
Get a thing and show me what you consider 60 degrees.
About that. So 90, 60, about 30.
So you've got 90.
It was short.
45. You've got 60.
About yay, give or take. Oh yeah,
okay, so see, 47 degrees. Got it.
Nothing about them are easy. Yeah, it was with a digital meter. It was measured.
Measured. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I think, he can throw that up in the comments what the exact amount was. I think that for one very, very short portion, it was like 65 something degrees, but an average of 60 degrees. Anyway, it was a short incline, but the Lynx S was able to handle it no problem, which was cool.
Okay. Let's see. Somebody's also asking if the pedals are now I know the pedals are the same as the Oryx, so that the Oryx pedals can go on the original Lynx too then, yeah?
Yes, they can.
I didn't know
in
that
fact,
part.
I actually just got a bunch of patent S's in stock, and I ordered them specifically to have the Oryx/Lynx S pedals pre-installed because, the original, the standard patent S pedals they're okay, but they're not great.
No, they're not. Lynx pedals sucked. The Sherman L pedals sucked. They all sucked. They were able to be altered to be made good enough, but if you have one of those, you gotta get aftermarket pedals or modify your pedals. It's just all day today. I didn't slip on my pedals once. There's actual mountain bike spikes on those pedals. They do not suck, but they do not have dihedral adjustability, which is how tilted up they are, but they're a little bit more aggressively tilted than I think the original Lynx was. They felt fine. I'm not going to bother changing them. So
yeah, I'm not going to either. I don't really see a need to. There's some wheels that have a crazy dihedral angle, like the Kingong F22 Pro, where they're just like a little uncomfortable. But with standard LeaperKim wheels, it's pretty comfortable across the board. There's not a major reason to adjust your dihedral angle unless you have foot problems. Hey, look, Jack is here. Yes, I have a mustache now. Who knows how long that'll last? It's the special guest on the show.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the special guest. Sorry.
Yeah. Mario.
Yeah, let's so Troy is asking if the shock transplant needs the special clamp. It looked like the diameter and everything was exactly the same, so I will say you wouldn't need to switch the clamp that's on there. But is the clamp actually beefier on the S than it is on the standard?
Such a good question. It deserves such a good answer that I don't have. I really don't know.
The way you shelf it is, well, although the clamps are something that you could change, a lot of people were getting aftermarket ones, but you don't need them. They're good enough. See? And then you get to kind of blow people off without actually answering the question.
I misunderstood the question. I was thinking of something else. It would have to be the same clamp. They would have to have the same clamp. So you would still have, therefore, the same amount of chassis flex that the Lynx has already, if you're concerned about that. But yeah, it's going to have the same clamp, but you're just going to be using a different shock.
So yeah, I don't know. This is still not settled as to where the chassis flex is coming from. I still think it's possible that a lot of it comes from the internals of the shock itself, like the seals and everything. Because I put out a little video today, and when you're flexing it, the entire battery box on the original L, like you could see the shock in the middle and the battery box, they were moving separate. On the new one, they seemed pretty much the same, but I'm trying to remember where the slidey parts are. Yeah,
Well,
maybe you're right then. That is actually tracking with what you're saying.
yeah. Well, LeaperKim, their official answer about that is that the clamps are the reason why there is some chassis flex. It's unavoidable to eliminate it completely, but in my personal testing and messing around with it, I didn't find there was much, if any, chassis flex. Maybe I'm not as good as some people are at extracting that when they really yank on it. Can you put a 90/90 tire on the Lynx S? Let me answer that with, I bought some fancy digital calipers, and the space between the battery boxes was like 91 or 92 millimeters. So perhaps if you're feeling adventurous.
Well, no, the thing to weight against is what is the spacing on the original Lynx? And I've heard people say that they measured it with calipers at around 87 or even less than that. I don't remember. Who
There's
was it
actually
that said
someone
that?
in the comment section that just said that 89.67 on a new Lynx. So we're talking a slight increase in battery box gap there.
Okay, we've got something important to talk about here.
I'm seeing stuff. I think Rob looks like a French waiter. You look like a fireman. Do I need to give Rob my license and registration? Yes.
I gotta
Yeah.
must have a
That
lot of scrolling to do.
is,
Let's
yeah.
see. But yeah, that is a good point. The Russians do everything that can be done, but yeah, Russia will take that. Yes. And then everybody's jumping on board. Russian, well, same as me. I'm like, I think you're right. The Russians do weird things. Speaking of weird things, I saw Cooler Joe today. I was leaving my house and I was just about getting onto the main street near my house when I got a call from Richard Salcedo saying, "Hey man, Cooler Joe's wheel just stopped working. Can you bring him a wheel?" And my answer was, "Ooh, sorry. Joe is on my list of people not to lend wheels to because everything he touches, he breaks." Which I mean in like a friendly kind of way. So
Sure.
we get to the start of the ride, and Richard and Joe were there just to say hello. And anyway, I check out Cooler Joe's wheel, and the thing is like destroyed. Like the chassis is broken, battery boxes are broken off. You could see into the mainboard compartment, and against my better judgment, I helped Joe bring the wheel back to life so he could join us for the ride. And within 4 or 5 minutes, it stopped working because his valve stem was bent out the wrong way. And then Matt Matt Burt said, "Just write it backwards." So Matt and I watched Joe flip his pads around,
Oh
and
my goodness.
then Joe started hitting some jumps, and one of them was landing on a big boulder, it was like a tabletop, but like a tabletop boulder. He went way up in the air and landed, and it sounded like a Jewish wedding when they step on the glass, and his
Oh,
rim just shattered. So
I
Anyway,
see what's wrong there. It's not supposed to shatter.
moral of the story is I did the right thing. Don't lend Cooler Joe a wheel. So, but yeah, he's kind of like the Russians, is kind of why what led me there. He will do crazy, weird things, and you never know what's going to happen. Oh, there we go. We got sorry, battery box 99. My links measured 81. Da, da,
Yeah, I
da.
got a correction. I actually have Telegram turned off because if I had Telegram turned on the computer, you'd be hearing just no end of notifications. Ba-ding, 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 ba-ding. So, but Troy did give a correction. My memory was wrong. 93.16 millimeters on the Lynx S. So we have just a little bit more width there. So a little bit more room for a wide tire.
But yeah, when you're talking about two things that aren't supposed to be moving relative to each other, a couple millimeters does a lot. So it
Yeah,
might work. I know that certain tires are listed as a 90 millimeter wide, but they'll fit in things that aren't supposed to work with a 90. So, like the tire that I run, everybody had it rubbing on, or not my tire. They had 90/90s rubbing on everything. Mine fits on everything, so I don't have to modify. I don't have to put spacers in my whatever. It just fits. And the City Grip 2, I've seen people put 90/90s in their Sherman L's, and then other people have rubbing.
right. Uh,
Mm-mm.
we should address one of these two things: the top speed or Jack Electric Dreams. Roger, without making me watch your 3 hour review, what's your verdict on the Lynx S? You want to cover either one of those?
Let's see. I would say if you have a Lynx, don't get the Lynx S. If you need a trail wheel, get the Lynx S. So if you've got, let's say, I don't know, there's certain things. If you've got an Extreme, it would be a decent upgrade. Um, I do like the Extreme. It's just a lot of fun, but I kind of, I don't know. It was hard to keep up with guys like Matt and Richard and Brent and those guys. They're if you're on a 16-inch wheel, I don't know what it is. It's just not as fast. So as far as everything else with it, it does seem like every little category is better. Like I'm off road and I look down. I didn't check the speedometer against GPS, but I was routinely going down the dirt roads at 45, 50. Not a big deal. And I'm on the street. I actually had to double check that I wasn't in kilometers because it's so freaking easy to just get up into the 50s on that
Right.
thing. Every time we were on asphalt, I'm like, that's got to be kilometers. It wasn't.
I have to say the opposite of what you said. You argued that if someone needs a trail wheel and they have the Lynx, then they should potentially consider the Lynx S
That's not what I
because the
said.
Lynx.
I said if you have a Lynx, don't get a Lynx S. I
But
said
if you need,
only upgrade if you don't have a trail wheel.
oh, okay, gotcha. I was going to say that the trail wheel factor is a big one, but a lot of it has to do with the power that it's able to deliver on the street. I'm in the camp that most 20-inch EUCs, the modern ones, are capable of delivering all the power that you need on the trails in general. There's not a whole lot of wheels out there that when you're trail riding that you will need more torque than what the current market is able to provide. What's the height of the new Lynx compared to the OG Lynx?
Seemed
I
the
have not.
same.
Yeah, I haven't compared them directly personally. I mean, I have some Lynxes, some OGs that are still sitting in brand new in the box. I just haven't pulled one out for height comparison purposes. But in a photo, I saw that the Lynx S and the Lynx are very, very similar. Maybe the Lynx S is a couple millimeters taller, maybe if that.
I don't think so. I think they're going to be exactly the same. Just
They
because
look
the this the top of the shock has to be at exactly the same location, right? And then the shock attaches into the mainboard tray, and the top of the this wheel didn't seem any thicker. If anything, it seemed less, but I would say
Yeah,
exactly the same. But
sure.
that's me.
Do we want to discuss the top speed potential?
Um, I haven't even considered making any runs for the top speed on it yet, but I would bet that it'll easily be a 60 plus mile per hour wheel. But more importantly, for folks like me and the other guys around that race, um, it just gets up to that speed quick. So if you are on one of the, I don't know, I race with a lot of guys or train with a lot of guys that run Lynxes, and I'm seeing them beeping out of every turn and dipping on a regular basis. And I think there would be a lot less of that because this motor just seems a little bit punchier.
Sure. Um, yeah, yes, it does have a much punchier motor. You're right. I think that it will be able to be competitive on shorter tracks. I think that on the bigger tracks, it's just not going to happen. Um, you got the P6 that's still there. The P6 is capable of higher top speed. It's a fact. But maintaining that speed around the corners, it's a heavier wheel. Then again, I'm not a racer, but I do think that the Lynx S has its place on shorter tracks. The way I like to think about it is that the P6 is like Bowser in Mario Kart. Heavy, has a higher top speed on straightaways. It may take a little bit longer to get there, but it will be able to beat the other racers just based on that. Whereas the Lynx S, I think, would be more akin to a middleweight Mario kind of ride, something that has a little faster acceleration just because it's a little bit lighter. Those are my thoughts.
I used to always select the mushroom dude because he'd accelerate faster out of the turns.
Oh, you mean the Extreme Bull rocket?
Yeah, that's kind of but I've actually taken my Extreme Bull rocket to the racetrack a few times and it does pretty good. It's just you feel like I don't know. I'm not reaching the limits of it because I'm afraid to because it's pretty easy to get it to dip and do all that stuff and I don't like falling.
Sure.
Doo-doo-doo. Okay, so in my suspension video that I did the other day, it kind of shows that the piston doesn't hit metal. The piston actually hits the airbag that is the thing that you're using to add preload. There was something else that was said from LeaperKim about the tapering of the metal tube, and I'm guessing that that's sort of to help ramp up the air pressure because this thing seems to act like both an air spring and a coil shock at the same time. But towards the end of the suspension travel, I think you're getting a lot more air spring than you are coil shock.
Yeah, I think that if we are bottoming out on the Lynx S, then it's just a very soft bottom out. It seems very smooth. So I do like that.
Okay, so now I know that EUC logic is will,
Yeah.
and he's talking about the dirt wall that you guys were scaling. So,
Yeah.
by
He
the
was my
way,
hype man.
those
I don't really do stuff like that. I'm too chicken and he's like, let's go, let's go. And then he goes and scales up and he's standing at the top like, you can do this, you can do this. I'm like,
well,
fine.
I need to visit you guys up there sometime because I like those things.
Oh,
The
you wouldn't
the
like the kind of trails
challenges.
Girl goes on. These are it's like training. It's not fun riding. It's practice. That's what it is.
All right. Now here's a question that actually has an answer that should be shared, like as far as what LeaperKim would want us to do. So The standard height is the same, but you also have the option to lower the pedals if you so desire.
Yep.
I do not so desire. I will leave them where they are, but a lot of people like to try them lower, and then they end up pedal clipping and whatever, and they'll put them in. Why do you need them lower, guys? Come on. Let's
Yeah, you
see.
know, I actually posted a photo. I posted a photo of the Lynx S and the F18 side by side, just so people could have a visual comparison. And I had multiple people saying like, "Wow, the Lynx S pedals are obnoxiously low. What's wrong with the Lynx S?" They're the same pedal height as the original Lynx. It's just that the F18 happens to have really, really, really high pedals, and you can lower the pedals on both. If you lower the F18 pedals down a little bit, then it will be about the same as the upper position of the Lynx S.
Everybody's still on your mustache, Rob.
Oh, that was from way earlier. You gotta keep
I,
scrolling.
I got to scroll faster. Okay, let's see here. Chazovik, some a lot of folks are curious about on the new Lynx as compared to yeah. So there's always going to be chassis flex. The way things are mounted, you are talking about the entire travel of the shock being sort of separated from the body of the thing. So the body should be moving a heck of a lot more than it does, but it doesn't. So it's pretty damn good, I think. Honestly, I did have chassis flex on my original Lynx, but I'm one of the people that just didn't care that much. I almost wore a hole in the side of my wheel with the motor cover just on it.
Yeah. You got some people saying they like their pedals lower. Some others are saying they like their pedals higher. You know, it's great on the Lynx S. You can have it your way. I lowered the pedals on my original Lynx, and it was cool, I guess. It wasn't that conducive to trail riding in some ways, but it also means that you have to have other things thrown in there to make it better. Because the toe locks, they have to have extensions just to make it work, or you have to remove the toe locks entirely if you lower the pedals.
Oh, and I did the ride today with the toe locks on. Generally, the first thing I do is I take all that stuff off. I use the stock pads that came with the wheel, which are, um, I don't know if they came with the wheel or they came from you, right, that way. But everything was fine. I mean, I felt pretty comfortable on the wheel. My feet hurt because the hardness of that tow hook thing. Um, but other than that, everything was good. Let's see.
I
So
really
I
like
put
these
up
toes.
Jack's question: would I upgrade if it was my only wheel? So if I'm really into racing and want to win, and I don't want to do the big track stuff, I guess I'd sell the Lynx and then buy the new Lynx S. But if selling it wasn't an option, if I had to keep both, no. But it is definitely an upgrade.
Well, being that I sell these, I would say yes. Yes, absolutely.
Well, you'd actually like what I used to do. So the extreme, no, the master comes out, and I'm like, this is a good wheel for off road with the suspension and all, but it's also fast. It would be good for I bought two: street tire, dirt tire. Um, let's see. I was going to replace those with the Blitz Pro. So I bought two Blitz Pros. I bought two X-Ways. Um, but yeah, I ended up not using really any of those for much of anything because I still liked my Lynx better than the X-Way. And then I also got a hold of the Apex, which this whole thing that I'm doing right now is me trying to figure out if I like the Lynx S better than the Apex. And I know there's going to be things about it that I will like better, but I'm talking about overall. So
Yeah, I hear
I'm
you. You know,
still thinking.
to discuss the tire thing that you're talking about, where you're saying getting a street tire and a trail tire version of the same wheel. That's actually a very interesting point, because really the TNT tubeless tire that comes with the Lynx S, in my opinion, it's good for trails. Don't get me wrong, it's very good for trails. The knobs are large, it's fantastic. But when you're riding on the street, it doesn't have nearly the gyro stability that the street tire has. I'm a huge fan of the street tire that LeaperKim and NOSFET offer. It's just it just wants to keep you upright, and I'm a huge fan of that. So if money is no object, get two. Get a off-road tire and a street tire Lynx S.
So yeah, I would do that, and then I'd notice I'm taking my street tire off-road wheel off-roading. No, my street tire, yeah, my street tire wheel off-roading. Because I, like you, do prefer that feeling. So
Yeah.
let's see, am
So
I
we
almost
got one
catching
guy.
up with?
Yeah, we got one guy that's asking about the tow hook replacement kit. Um, I don't know if you're able to pull that one up. That's near the bottom of the comment section.
All
Um,
right, let's see.
but what this person is referring to is the fact that with the Lynx S, if you remove the tow hooks, that also removes this front part here, and that exposes your battery box. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That exposes the battery boxes to damage potentially. And so what I'm doing right now is I've reached out to a manufacturer to try to make it so you can remove this, but you can still have the front protection frame here. It's just going to be flush mounted. So that means that you can easily put on Grizzla sync pads, or really whatever you want that doesn't involve the tow hooks, while also keeping the wheel protected. Timeline on it, no ETA. I've pitched the idea, and the manufacturer is exploring it right now to see what they can do. But the whole purpose is to make it as OEM looking as possible, to make it nice and flat, so people can do a total replacement there and feel like they can put on whatever pads they want without the tow hooks.
So I will also touch on the fact that when those tow hooks are removed on the original Lynx, you have these like holes that go into the battery boxes. You've got all these extra little there's screw holes in the front, screw holes in the side. The Lynx S, you take them off and it doesn't really look like you have anything missing from the wheel. So you're talking about adding the extra protection. There's still, where the battery box is, there's a whole lot of meat over there. So if you're putting that protection, it's to make sure that when you go to sell the wheel, you're going to get a good price for something that's in good shape. But you're not going to be busting into your battery boxes.
Sure. And Grizzla will eventually come out with a bumper kit for the Lynx S. Yes, that is true. But I kind of like the ability to still have those plastic bumpers there. It's the way the manufacturers intended it. I don't know. I just think it would look nice. But I do like the tow hooks that they are using now. I know that the original tow hooks that LeaperKim used were substandard. They were just not great. They're a bit on the small side. They're very durable, but these ones are significantly larger, and I like them. I think they're more comfortable.
Okay, so asking between the Lynx S and the Aeon, very different wheels.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not something you really should be comparing. So, the Aeon is something where you're like, dude, I made it through all those trails and everybody else was on Lynx S's, and you'd be proud of yourself. But then the guy in front that everybody was following on the Lynx S, there's no way he's going to be doing that on an Aeon.
Yeah, that's a
So.
good point. The Aeon is not bad at trails. It's actually quite good. But by comparison, the Lynx S is significantly better. And that all boils down to the tire size. a larger tire size will be able to go over larger obstacles more easily. It's just a fact. You go through the trails that I went on yesterday on the Lynx S. If I went to do the same thing on the Aeon, I could do it. It would not be a fun time, but I could do it. I've done it on the Patent S, and it's more of a I did it, I survived kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Lynx S, I think that it's just significantly better just based on the tire size. Ideally, I think it'd be amazing to have an EUC manufacturer make a double XL sized wheel with a relatively small battery that is basically dedicated for tough trails, as long as it's lightweight. I mean, I don't know, just an idea that I've thought about that hasn't really been implemented yet.
Well, with all these new cells that are coming out, it would be pretty easy to just take something like the Lynx or the Apex or whatever and use half the number of cells. So
Yeah,
we're running mostly 50S cells, but there are cells that do have twice the output capacity of those cells. But I guess
right.
the real question would be, do they really? Do they actually in practice, or does that require additional cooling or whatever? But if
Well,
that's the case, then go 3P instead of 4P.
right. Well, I mean,
And hey, Dale, man, I see you're leaving, so c'est la vie. I'll catch you next one. We should have invited you onto the stream. My bad. I was thinking about it and then I forgot. Because he has Lynx S.
oh, it's a good point. How dare you, Dale, for just popping in and waving and then leaving? What a jerk.
Yeah. Well, if you do want a link to the stream, I'll toss you one, just so you know.
We got someone asking the Lynx S versus Kingong F18.
See,
It
that's a
depends on your
real
use case
competition
and
there.
preferences. Have you had the chance to ride the F18 yet?
Yes, I did. It felt really good, but I can tell you it doesn't have the same amount of torque as the Lynx S.
Hmm.
So it's got a
Anything
lot of
else?
torque. Hmm?
What you know? What when I just remembered that, yeah, you did that at the Kingong factory, and there's an important distinction that should be made. They released a new firmware that
Oh,
significantly increased the torque and the top speed.
yeah.
That
So,
seemed like a loaded. Yeah. What are you not saying?
it's nothing like that. But so the top speed thing is what I heard about, but you're saying extra torque.
Yes,
So,
that's what they told me. And again, when I rode on the F18 yesterday, it had no issues whatsoever on some pretty technical trails, but also it was able to scale a short dirt wall of 60 degrees. Now it wasn't. I'd say it was probably 15 feet going up, give or take.
nice.
I wonder if it would have potentially beeped if it was, 30, 60 feet, something like that. Eventually it's gonna struggle, I imagine, for either one. But so it was
Mhm.
admittedly short, but neither the F18 nor the Lynx S beeped for either one of those, and both maintained traction. As far as trail riding is concerned, as we discussed earlier, the F18 does have significantly higher pedals. It's for someone who's never ridden before, it might actually be kind of a weird thing. It might be a little uncomfortable having your pedals as high as they are on the F18 because it's a taller wheel in general. The F18 is actually quite durable. It doesn't look it. It really doesn't look it at all. It's shiny. It looks plasticky, but it actually, from some people that have truly tortured it, it's actually pretty durable. So go figure.
Yeah. And are those handles? I asked them when I was in China, are those real carbon fiber? And they told me yes. They said yes, real carbon
Yeah,
fiber handles. I
really?
mean, how much does it cost to get one tube of carbon fiber and cut it into a bunch of handles, and then you get to tell people, yes, that's real carbon fiber. So
I
anyway,
guess. Yeah.
so Marty wants to know if the tow hooks on the Oryx are this. Well, he didn't ask this, but he's saying that they look identical. Um, pedals, lights, da 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 da. Toe kicks are identical to the Oryx with the same
Same
pedals and
exact
light.
part.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh, here's one that yes. This question: does
Okay.
the weight of the Lynx S feel different, or about the same from the OG Lynx? What do you think, Roger?
For me, it felt the same, but I was letting other people ride it, and then other people will say it feels lighter. It's like there's no way it feels lighter because it's heavier. And then other people would say, I can't feel it doing this, this, and this, but if I do this, I could feel the extra weight. So, uh, yeah, it is definitely heavier, but I would say if I'm going to weigh the extra weight versus the extra power, I think that trade-off is a no-brainer. It's definitely worth taking the couple extra pounds for the extra kick in the butt, especially it's not about starting from a dead stop. Somebody was asking earlier about starting off on trails that are start and stop trails. Um, no, I think the old Lynx is just as good as that as the new one. But starting from 40 miles per hour and deciding you got to go faster than 40, uh, yeah, I'd feel a lot safer doing that on the Lynx S.
Yeah, the fact that the Lynx S does weigh 5 pounds more than the original Lynx, I feel that when you lift it, obviously it's going to weigh more. That's objective. When you are riding it, I didn't feel really a difference. Admittedly, it's been a while since I've ridden an OG Lynx, but what I can say is that I was riding an F18 yesterday, which weighs the same as the original Lynx, and they felt essentially identical in terms of how the weight distribution was. I don't know if that's the right term. It didn't feel like the Lynx S was heavier. It wasn't substantially different in the way that it handled. One thing that I feel is an important thing to point out is that most of the weight, almost all of the additional weight, is in the motor because it has the widest magnets of any EUC made thus far, which is super cool. And they added more copper winding, blah blah blah. So that means that you have higher rotational mass, which also translates directly into higher gyroscopic stability at speed. What that also translates to being that they have more weight down low on the motor is that there's a greater unsprung mass, which some people may find detrimental as well.
Yeah. Let's see. I was going to say something, but luckily I'm old and senile, so I forgot what it was. Um, let's see. God, it was actually important. I wish I remember what it was. But anyway. Okay, da da da. Orix doesn't do on trails.
Because it's heavy, Dale. Oryx doesn't do
Oh,
as
I
well on.
remember what it was. I
Oh,
remember
okay.
what it was. So I did trails with a few other people, two guys on Lynxes and one guy on an Apex. And I think my battery did better than some than Brent, who was on a Lynx. And I didn't compare to Matt, but yeah, towards the end of the day, it was just me, Brent, and Matt. So, but it doesn't make sense that I would have had more battery than the other links, but
Yeah. I
seemed
that,
to
that
be.
that's crazy that you say that. I mean, I absolutely believe you that
He's had that wheel a while. It might have some, battery downhill stuff going on.
could be. Um, you know, I understand that. Um, that said, I did find that the Lynx S does have a fair bit of voltage sag visible on the speedometer display or on the user interface. Did it translate into reduced performance? No, but you can see that the Lynx S, it's a thirsty wheel that is capable of drinking volts fast and hard. And I think that that would be amazing to see in the near future, whenever the battery tech catches up, to see a Lynx S that has battery cells that have higher discharge than 50S. Unfortunately, the reason why we don't have any EUCs right now that are mass produced that are better than 50S is just a number of different factors, whether it's price, whether it's reliability. That's the problem with 50 PL batteries right now. The original pre-production 50 PL batteries, which have like 100 amp discharge continuous, which is insane. Maybe it's 125. They
had like
have
vampire drain.
Yeah, they have really bad parasitic drain that it makes them so. Just imagine if an electric unicycle manufacturer was like, yeah, we're going to include these insane, awesome batteries. And then a whole bunch of people buy it because of marketing hype. And then their batteries die after they have been sitting for a month. And then, who's holding the bag with that? It would be a complete disaster. So there's other things like monocells due to the supply chain. I think it's because of Taiwan, China political issues, some certain tensions there, that monocells are not really an option at the moment.
They've
So
always been insanely expensive, the monocells, so it's a bummer. But you can always get older generation ones that do okay.
yeah.
But yeah, and also I messaged Zen and he didn't respond, so oh well.
Mm.
Lynx is better than F18 all day both. I will say that the Lynx S really does not look very toy-like at all. It doesn't have any gimmicks or whatever. It's just, this is what you need to have. Now you've got it. Go have fun. So
That's true. One thing
and
that the F18 does have on the Lynx S, though, is the lighting. Those lights on the F18 are absurd. It has 3 different lights, and you can adjust them to different brightnesses and different angles. The F18's headlights are the best of any EUC ever made, hands down. So
I didn't get to ride in the dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say I did all my testing after I put together my Lynx S. That headlight is pretty darn good.
Yeah, no, it is good. I
thinking
mean, it's roughly 25%, 20-ish, 25% better than the Lynx headlight. Personally, I like the headlight spot beam that is more diffuse with the original Lynx, but the brightness of the Lynx S headlight is a good bit better.
So the thing is with the headlights on these wheels, the ones that are like kind of floodlights, you annoy the hell out of other people on trails, out of oncoming vehicles. It could actually be a safety concern if I don't know, I'm sure you've had somebody come at you with a flashlight in your face. It ain't no fun. And what the hell, Dale? They gave you one that came with the batteries and everything all together? That ain't right. You learned nothing. You learned nothing.
We have someone that said, are you disappointed that LeaperKim didn't release an all-new wheel that's more like a Lynx 2.0 rather than what is more like a 1.5? Well, Roger, do you think this is like a Lynx 2.0 or do you think it's more of a 1.5?
1.5. So there are improvements, but if you gave me that wheel and I had a few drinks and told me to go around the block and you told me it was a Lynx, I don't know if I would have noticed. Well, the headlight is very drastically different, but put the old headlight in. I bet I would have just turned it on and rode it. But yeah, what I was expecting when I kind of got wind of a new Lynx on the horizon was the same power system as the Oryx. And when I found out that it was going to be the same configuration for the batteries, mostly the same motherboard, and I didn't know that they were actually changing the motor. So when I found out that it weighed more and that weight went to the motor, I kind of knew that it would be better. Um, and it is better, but it's not a 2.0 kind of a better.
Okay. Yeah, I felt the same way when I first was shown the specs on it. I saw 151 volts. I saw a 3,800 watt motor. I saw it's heavier, and my heart sank at first. Um, but you got to look a little bit deeper. It is a good bit more powerful. It's just a better wheel overall. All of the quality of life complaints that people have had about it are fixed on the Lynx S. So it really is awesome. And another thing is that it's best to not reinvent the wheel sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's just better to use a familiar platform and continue refining it and continue making it better rather than try to come up with something that is all new that may turn out to be a disaster. I mean, case in point, the Big Ode race, they created a whole new wheel from the ground up, and it just had issues. I mean, every single brand new wheel release may have some issues, but the fact that they're building on the proven and reliable platform of the original Lynx ultimately is a good thing. It may not be as exciting as a shiny, completely different wheel, but at least they have the baseline foundation of this is a reliable wheel, and we are
Hmm.
making it more powerful and more awesome in general.
But yeah, that's kind of why the like Master Pro never really gave people issues because it's just a Master, which has already been sold, and they just put twice the batteries and a bigger rim. So
Yeah,
anyway,
it's a good point.
but yeah, then Bigode comes out with the race. That's a whole new voltage system and whatever, and people are dropping like flies. I love my race, by the way. Just wish the suspension was better. Okay, let's see here. This is a wait. I need somebody to help me out. So this is a bunch of gay slang. If somebody could translate that and type it down at the bottom, I'd appreciate that. So, because I don't know gay slang stuff. Okay, Dale. Yeah, you could tell us if you want.
He's in Australia. The
And
text
let's
should
see.
get down.
Please define unsprung mass Mr. Mustache. So
Oh,
I've got
well,
that one in my pocket also.
well, the Mr. Mustache thing.
Senor Mustache.
Yeah. Unsprung mass or weight is the total weight of a vehicle's components not supported
Hey,
by the.
no, he wanted you to define it. He didn't want you to read it off of the internet.
No, no,
So,
no. It didn't say no references. I have my
okay.
Google machine. I have my other monitor right here. So yeah, it's the total weight of the vehicle's components not supported by the suspension, including wheels, tires, brakes, axles, hubs, and suspension links. Not to be confused with the sprung mass, which is like the body and the engine, or in the case of an EUC, the batteries, the person that's riding on it, the motherboard compartment, etc.
Yeah. So pretty much if you go to a vehicle and you push it down, all the stuff that moves when you push it down is sprung mass. And if it stays stationary, it's unsprung mass. Same with
Yep,
the wheels.
indeed.
Price. Wait. Like if you were to get this from next gen mobility, yeah, that's a tab there. So if you do want to buy one of these things, bunch of places you can get it from. I'm obviously talking to Rob, so that's who I'm going to be pushing at the moment. But
What a nice
talk to
guy.
me again tomorrow, and maybe I'll say get it from Wheel Good Time, and he'll hook you up also. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? So, so yeah, $3,700. How much was the original Lynx? Just let's say 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's not a good question to ask, because I got word that they were releasing a new Lynx probably 6 to 8 weeks ago, give or take. I
Ah,
didn't have any details on it. It was just, we're releasing a new successor to the Lynx. I wasn't told the name. I wasn't told anything. I was just told by LeaperKim, it would be wise if you sold off your remaining stock. So I said, okay, I will do so. So it was $36.49, which included free pads from Beto. And then I dropped it a couple weeks ago. I think it was like 34. I think it's 30. What is it? Oh, 3,300 right there. There you go.
yep.
So that's the price that it's going to be for the foreseeable future, most likely until it is sold out forever. I am strongly considering throwing on a set of the Lynx S suspension for a DIY install. It is costly. It would increase the price, which is part of the reason why I'm kind of considering not doing it. But yeah, I would basically turn it into a Lynx Plus or something like that, just to get them gone. I've got like 6 left, something like that.
Okay. Well, but yeah, so going back to the other question about the price of the Lynx S, it says 3,700 bucks, so probably worth the extra money if you're going to buy something right now, to go ahead and bite the bullet and get the Lynx S, even if the other one's going on sale. So,
Yeah,
and from my experience today, 70 pounds would probably be right if you're, I don't know, 180 pounds or more, maybe. Normally I would say 180 pounds, you'd be at the 66, but until I figure out what's the proper setup, I still need to give a little bit more preload on that and see how it goes. So I'll do
yeah.
that soon.
Something important to point out about the suspension and the preload. We discussed this before the show, but the Lynx S comes with the air bladder, whatever you want to call it, the air chamber pre-inflated to what the manufacturer recommends, which is 2 to 3.5 bar, which is I think like 25 to 45-ish psi roughly. And I was like, okay, I'm going to crank this up. So I turned on my battery powered compressor and it popped it up to like 70, just because it was so fast. But then when you release the air, some comes out. The Lynx S does not come with a shock pump. So, and LeaperKim says you don't need a shock pump. You can just use a regular, bike pump or whatever, regular compressor. But if you want to get fine-tuned control over how much pressure is in that air chamber, you're going to need to use a shock pump, because when you release it, it releases a whole lot less air and bleeds out less air.
Yes. Yeah, definitely agree with that. Using a bike pump is what I tried with first, and it did not do well. I couldn't get them close to the same, and I had no idea if I lost all the air or some of the air. It was annoying.
Yeah. You don't lose all of it. I can verify that, because when it popped it up with my regular compressor to like 70 or 80 and I unscrewed it and then I screwed it back on, it measured at like 35 psi. So, which is well within the specs.
Yeah, solid state batteries. And it's not just solid state batteries, it's like twice the capacity at the same weight and way safer. But a lot of people are dubious.
Yeah.
OG Lynx headlight has been my favorite. I prefer it over the Lynx S Oryx. Yeah, that's because you don't care about other people, Dale. You want to blind all of them. That's not nice.
Grizzla is coming out with their own headlight that I'm looking forward to so eagerly. I don't know what its compatibility will be. It should be for most, if not all, LeaperKim and NOSFET EUCs, but I don't know that for sure. but the main selling point to the Grizzla headlight is the fact that it's auto leveling using LiDAR. They're not the first people to invent it. They just might be the first people to perfect it, though, and mass produce it. So I'm looking forward to that very eagerly, because I don't enjoy blinding people. And personally, I really like to ride my wheel in soft mode. And that, by doing that, it involves either blinding people when I brake. Yeah. When I'm braking, I will blind people. And when I accelerate hard, I can't see in front of me in the dark. So I'm really looking forward to that. Man, I'm never going to get in the end of this. Should I shave this mustache off? I know I look like Mario or something.
I think it's absolutely fine to have a mustache. And if it makes you happy, Rob, then we're all happy for you.
I don't care. My wife is the one that the opinion really matters. One of my daughters is like, oh, I don't really like it. Whatever.
Okay, Zweems is a very interesting case. I think he's being sarcastic when he says Bigode #1. So hopefully
Why do
he's
you
all
say
healed
that?
up from. He's a Bigode race rider who had a cutout. Then he followed the directions from Bigode and performed repairs, and then went out and had a cutout. And then he was having difficulty getting his wheel to work at all. And anyway, yeah, there's reasons that he would be a little upset. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to jam through some more of these things. Let's see. Zweems, I know that's a lie after the. Yeah, see, it's
Okay.
known.
All right.
But yeah, that's Will. If anybody knows him, he's out in New York, a really cool guy, a great writer, and I believe he won the Broadway Bomb the year before last, maybe last year. I don't know, but don't be proud of that. That's a reckless race.
Yeah.
Do-do-do.
Pretty reckless.
We're okay with reckless sometimes. LeaperKim actually cares about their dealers. Give them wrong. Yes, good point, Marty. So there's a lot of not thinking about dealers that's been going on lately. So it's nice to actually see them keeping him on the radar and up to date on things
Yeah.
instead of
I
just like,
appreciate
yeah.
that.
How do you feel about Bigode right now, Rob? What happened?
What can I say publicly? How we are on speaking terms. I I when they dropped their prices heavily, say for example, I started to see the C8 prices on their website go. Oh, actually, let's rewind even further. When they were building their website before it was even launched, I noticed, oh look, the Bigode website, it's looking pretty polished, and they have listings for a lot of their wheels, but they're not live yet. And we reached out to them, and they're like, oh no, we're not going to sell the United States. We're not going to do the United States. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like, okay, sounds good. And then I started to see the sales go live, and it's like, okay, wow, these prices are pretty cheap. And then I saw it for certain wheels. The C8 was one of the first ones. The price just tanked, and it was below dealer wholesale price. And I thought, that's a shot across the bow. I have no C8s in stock because I didn't think that it was going to be a hot selling wheel. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna maybe I got a few, and then I sold off that stock and just washed my hands of it. But I saw the writing on the wall. I saw that they were starting to do that with a couple other models, and I saw, oh boy, I've got Blitz Pro, I've got Panthers in stock. This is not good because these are not moving. These are not
The
selling.
Panthers were kind of nuts.
Yeah, the Panther was really bad because we ordered a whole bunch of them like 4+ months in advance, and they
Hmm.
just kept saying, "Oh, we're delayed, we're delayed, we're delayed." And at least the way they explained it to us was that there were issues with the quality. They wanted to make sure they got it just right. They wanted to make sure it was perfect. But then when they actually released the Panther, it was largely the same as the pre-production ones, the prototypes, which was disappointing. But the sales on Big Ode wheels were slowing down heavily, and I was expecting at least the X-Way to continue selling. But then I saw the X-Way and the Race both, they dropped their price below what the dealer wholesale prices were. And I was like, oh no, they didn't, but they did. And so what am I going to do? What are my choices? Take the L, match their price, get rid of these wheels. And that's what I did. I lost a lot of money.
Learn your lesson, huh?
Yeah, I lost a lot of money off of that. The Panther, I did the exact same thing happened. I was trying to slowly bring the price down before they tanked the price, and then they just tanked the price. I matched the price, and then eventually I think I sold out of the Panthers in like a few days or a week, something like that. People were finally asking about it. People were finally inquiring and making the purchase because the prices were so cheap. But yes, I had words, strong words with Big Ode. And it depends on who you're talking to in the company. Some of them were like, yep, sorry, that's just the way it is now. You know, or I was ignored. It is what it is. I still depend on them for certain things, for warranty needs. And so I can't completely say, you know, I hate these guys, they're awful, whatever, which I don't. It's just, I have to maintain a certain level of professionalism to maintain things, you know. But no, I don't sell Big Ode wheels anymore. They asked me when they released the Falcon Pro, they gave me the price sheet. They said, here, we'd love it if you sold the Falcon Pro. And I said, if I do that, you're going to have to just make it so you recoup me the losses on all of the wheels that you made me price match for just to get these wheels gone. Which is, you know, it wasn't that many wheels. It was like maybe 15 wheels, give or take, probably less. But I said, if you want me to sell those wheels, then you're going to have to make this right first, and then we'll talk. And also we need to worry about some warranty related issues, and they never responded. So it's okay. Big Ode is now a competitor, but it is what it is.
But yeah, somebody was asking me about that earlier today, and it was in my chat, and they were bringing up, why is the price on the P6 so high? And I'm like, no. The question isn't that. It's, why did the price on everything from Big Ode drop so low? So
Right.
that should be the question.
Yeah, and it is true that I don't know how it is now, but it was the case that Big Ode was in pretty significant debt and, you know, unable to pay their own employees. And so this was more of a move to stay alive. So
Quite possible.
yeah, I know that is, you know, I have independent confirmation that is the case. So on one hand, yes, it hurts. It sucks a lot for everyone involved. I kind of don't blame them, but at the same time, because they kind of screwed me over, I kind of do. But really, I truly feel for Jason at eWheels. Yes, we're direct competitors, but he got the shortest end of the stick by a absolutely massive margin. I've been told, he and I don't talk. I don't have anything against him, and I will not, and I cannot say anything negative about him. I will only say good things about eWheels, but apparently there are 100 or more X-Ways in some other wheel sitting in China, unsold in a warehouse that are owned by eWheels. that's a lot of money to be just
Yeah.
losing. And it's not just X-Ways. I'm sure that's many, 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 many more. And like, what are you going to do with all that? That's hundreds of thousands of dollars just getting vaporized by Bigode. So I really feel for him.
Yeah. Yeah. He I do talk to him on occasion on the phone, and yeah, he's not happy with the situation, but it's a harder thing for him to just say no more of this, but I think he's going to do a little bit better at getting certain things added into the contract when he purchases stuff to protect him in the future. But
Yeah,
oh well.
makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
All right. Well, anyway, so this person's trying to decide between the Lynx S and the P6. I think this could be the last thing we address, and then we'll cut out for the day. So, um, very different wheels. It depends on what you plan on doing with the wheel. If you're a SoCal guy and want to be joining Marty on rides through the mountains and everything, definitely the P6. If you want to hang out with me, Matt, Richard, and the guys getting dirty in the hills, then the Lynx S. If you're somewhere in the middle, you got to figure out what you're going to be doing more of. But yeah, a lot of people, they just don't need the speed that the P6 would offer, and they don't need the speed the Lynx S would offer. But having something durable and reliable is helpful, and I'd say probably the Lynx is going to be one of the most durable and reliable wheels you can get. Uh, so yeah, I've seen people do stupid things on the Lynx and get back on it and keep going.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that the P6 is a street wheel through and through. Yes, it can do trails if you really want it to. That's not what it's designed for. It's not what it's made for. It can, but should you? Probably not. It excels on the street, and it would be best if you probably keep it on the street. You're going to have the best experience on the street. Whereas the Lynx S is a very versatile wheel. It is very at home on the street. You can go fast on the street, but you can also crush some very technical trails. So if you have a diverse use case, if you want a one and done kind of wheel that can do everything, that may not be able to have a crazy amount of range, the P6 has more battery. I would probably go with the Lynx S. Also, I was going to say if you're on a budget, but neither one of these wheels is cheap.
No.
If you wanted something that costs a bit less, then I would go with the Lynx S as well. It's $1,300 cheaper at this time.
But yeah, even if they were exactly the same price, there are definite benefits of one to the other and vice versa. So figure out your use case and go from there. But preferably check with the people that you ride with, because they'll help guide you better than either of us can from our little chairs over here. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think I'm gonna start wrapping it up by saying thank you to everybody that joined in on the live stream, all of the input that we got, the questions that we got. Even though I'm super slow at getting to them and clicking on stuff, I apologize. I was like a 45 minutes behind, but I want to thank Rob for everything that he does for the community and for his customers. But yeah, if you just look around at some of the stuff, people's experiences with next gen mobility, you realize that dealers do have a place in what we do, and it's something that helps us as the consumer. Because when something goes wrong, you want it to be made right as quick and painlessly as you can, and sometimes you, as the end user, don't know how to make that happen, and that's where somebody like Rob comes in because. Next gen, EUC Underground, eWheels, they all have their strengths in what they do, but all of them are still around because they all do try to help their customers, and I hear a lot about next gen in that regard.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate it. I work hard to make sure customers have a good experience. My whole mindset is to try to make each customer feel like they are the only customer in the world, or alternatively, how I would want to have things taken care of if I was the customer. So that's just kind of where my angle is.
Yeah, cool enough. Anyway, thanks guys for joining us, and if we might end up doing this again in the near future. There's going to
I
be
hope
more
so.
stuff that'll come up about the wheel. I think, only taken it out. I've taken it out once. How about you, Rob?
I think I've taken it out about 4 or 5 times.
Dang. Yeah, I should stop working. Anyway, but yeah, the more we learn about it, the more people get the wheel and all. But yeah, I do want to do a little ride with Marty sometime around Fullerton Loop because it's what we're supposed to do anyway. But yeah, we'll catch you on the next live and see you on the chats and all. If you need anything from either of us, we're both pretty darn reachable and we're happy to help.
Yes. Thank
Catch
you
you later.
everybody for joining us.